The jury failed to indict officers directly for the death of Breonna Taylor. NBC's Jay Gray.
Anger spilling into the streets of Louisville. At times turning violent, 2 Louisville police officers hit by gunfire as protesters clash with police and the National Guard.
Only one of the 3 involved in their death during a police raid was charged yesterday, which was only for wanton endangerment and not Taylor's death. Former Louisville police detective Brett Hankinson is being charged with shooting into the apartment behind Taylor's home back in March. Taylor's boyfriend said he thought the no-knock raid was a home invasion and fired his weapon. Police returned fire, killing Taylor. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear deployed National Guard troops to the city in anticipation of protests. 2 officers were shot yesterday but are expected to recover. Protests took place in New York, Portland, Seattle, and Chicago last night. Father Michael Flegger spoke at St. Savannah Church on Chicago's South Side as demonstrators blocked the intersection.
A message is sent again in America that black and brown lives mean nothing in America.
During the demonstration, Flegger poured fake blood onto the asphalt to spell out Breonna. The President and First Lady Melania Trump are expected to join mourners at the Supreme Court, where the 87-year-old justice will lie in repose for a second day. Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away last week after a long battle with cancer. Trump is planning to replace Ginsburg on the High Court as soon as possible. At a press conference, he said he wants a 9-member Supreme Court in case the justices have to decide cases challenging the results of his own presidential election. Wall Street futures are down slightly. After Wednesday's sell-off, Dow and S&P 500 futures are both off about 0.1%. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
All right, it is Coffee Ann on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us on Thursday morning. It's September 24th. I'm Joe Callahan. It's a nice sunny day outside. We're getting back into summer-like weather. It's going to be nice. High near 78, right, Dave? High near 78 today?
78 today, I think.
Wow,
if not 79.
Pretty nice.
It says it on that piece of paper over there.
I think it's going to reach 70. I think it's going to reach 78 today.
You think so?
All right.
No, I do.
So that's Romeo Berthium. Hi, Romeo.
If it's going to 79 for a high, it will definitely reach 78.
That's how that works.
True.
Dave Richards is right over there. Hi, Dave.
A wizard in mathematics. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Romeo. Good morning, everybody. Lovely day.
Normally we have Bob Lotter on Thursdays, but the lawyer has to be in court today. So
Yeah, he's in court.
It's an
Starts
occupational
early.
hazard,
So
Joe.
that's where Bob is, and so we hope Bob can join us next week. And we'll be joined at 8:15 this morning via the phone by City Council person
Yes.
John Ward, up for re-election.
Candidate for re-election.
And
right.
we'll talk about his campaign a little later on. But in the meantime, we'll jump into all the fun things that are going on. And I guess all the fun was in Louisville, Kentucky last night.
Oh, geez, don't even joke about it. My goodness.
With the two officers were being shot.
Yeah.
But you know what I saw?
Yeah.
And
Tell me
you know,
what you
the
saw,
media
Joe.
didn't. I wonder if the media is going to jump on this. As I was flipping through a few different channels, just to get the latest of what was going on. They showed. Well, it was kind of in the background. It was a U-Haul truck that they were. People were going into the back and pulling signs out. Black Lives Matter, abolish the police, and then they put ICE in parentheses, making so basically abolish police and abolish ICE, and other signs like that.
What?
I go, well, wait a minute, who rented the truck?
Yeah.
And how did they get all these signs there so quickly?
So they were ready for this. If
Yes.
things would have gone the other way, would they have still demonstrated?
Yes, and I mentioned that to
Yeah,
Dave offhand,
yeah.
off air. I said, no matter what the Attorney General of Kentucky said yesterday, there still would have been protests in Louisville, no matter what. Even if they came out,
Because that's
and
what
said-
protesters do.
Yes, even if the Attorney General came out and said all 3 cops were going for first-degree murder on all of them and the death penalty, they still would have protested in Louisville last night for some reason.
Yeah.
But it came out with two cops didn't get any charges, and the one cop got some wanton disregard, who's already been fired, by the way.
Nothing to do with her death either.
No.
It was a neighbor, I guess.
Yeah, he shot into the neighbor's house. So he's already been fired, and there's charges coming up against him.
Yeah.
And so it was the perfect storm. It's exactly what the protesters wanted to cause as much havoc as they could.
Yeah.
And they did. And in other cities, too.
Oh, absolutely.
They focused on Louisville, but Chicago and New York.
Don't forget Seattle. Yeah.
And Providence.
Providence.
Oh, yeah. They decided that it's actually kind of amusing, at least to me. They all gather around the Providence Place Mall, and then they walk up like past the Civic Center, and then they go on to 95 and block traffic. And they blocked traffic last night maybe 10 minutes before either Providence Police or Rhode Island State Police came in and broke them all up. And they got them off the highway, and some of them ran, and they climbed fences and things like that. But then they all regather back at the Providence Place Mall and go out to eat. Because they said they all went to the Cheesecake Factory.
That had to be a plan.
That has to be.
And I wonder if they had reservations at the Cheesecake Factory.
Well,
they probably did.
We'll be protesting at 8. We'll be here at 9:30 for dinner.
Well, can I just say that
you can say anything,
whether
Dave. You own the place.
You think, huh?
Yeah.
No, you can say anything you can get away with.
Well, that's what I meant.
Some things you would never say anyway. But
So go ahead, Dave.
no, can I just say that the fact that these protests were anticipated and well organized, I don't think should make them meaningless. Now, I know that folks like us can look at it because we already suspect professional agitation. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not a sympathetic outburst at a grassroots level. It's professional agitators who have been stationed here by a larger group and coordinated and said, okay, this is what we're doing tonight. This is how we'll try to disrupt society. No peace until we get our way, and all the rest of that sort of thing like that. Okay, fine. We can look at that, and sometimes I have to admit, myself, I look at it and say, well, that in my mind does not constitute the heart and soul emotion of the general public in the area. It just means that some people are unhappy, and they've come here to be upset, and some other people who are sympathetic are joining them in being upset and doing public protest, which is their right. If they don't disagree with their government, they can protest. Well, that's just fine. But I think to say, well, these protests don't mean anything because they're just outside agitators is going too far. Did I say that right?
Okay. But I don't think we said they don't mean anything.
I know, but we kind of we're so lighthearted
about it. Okay.
In the tones of our voice, I was a little uncomfortable.
Right.
In the tone of our voice, it was almost dismissive the way that we were talking about them, and I was uncomfortable with that. So I thought I would speak up, and now I'll be quiet.
Well, you don't have to be quiet. But
Well, I was going to say, going back to the original case. If I'm not mistaken, and I think it's pretty well known.
When are you ever mistaken,
well, many
Romeo?
times.
Come on.
Yeah. They went in with a warrant.
Yes.
And I believe he took a...
But it was a no-knock warrant.
The boyfriend, the guy that they were trying to get...
the boyfriend
didn't shoot, but he pointed a gun at them.
No, he shot at them.
He shot at them.
And hit one of the officers.
So they fired back.
Yes,
and she
that's
happened
right.
to be hit in the crossfire.
That's right.
They didn't go in there to try to,
No.
And I wonder if it would have been a white person. If, let's say...
We wouldn't even be talking about it.
John, nobody would have... It wouldn't have made headlines.
No.
So, there you go. I mean, the point is the cops, I think the grand jury was right.
Because that's the
in
way
not
it's going nowadays.
Yeah, of course. But the grand jury was right in not indicting those cops because they were just defending themselves because of the stand your ground law that they have in Kentucky.
Dave, they did say it was a no-knock warrant, but they knocked anyway. And they've got witnesses
And they
saying, bang, bang, bang.
And they identified
it's
themselves.
the police.
Exactly.
Right.
And then they went in.
Which gave the boyfriend a chance to find his weapon.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, no, he says he didn't hear them say that. So it's a he said,
Well,
she said
whatever.
kind of thing.
So why should they have been indicted if they were just defending themselves against a possible deadly assault by this guy that they were
We're not
trying
looking,
to serve.
but they're not looking at that part, Romeo.
but they
all we
should.
know is the white cop shot the black lady.
Yeah,
But that's all I care about.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And that's
Well-
all I'm mad about. I'm
well, I
just
would-
going to keep
yeah.
being mad about
I
that.
was a little distressed. One of my favorite actresses is Viola Davis. And this morning she's on the radio. Well, I didn't hear her voice, but they reported it that she was very upset that that justice wasn't served.
Yes, I know.
Come on, give me a break.
Well,
I mean, justice
a lot
was
of them are saying
served.
that.
Justice was served, unfortunately. I think another excuse, I'm going to use that word, and to demonstrate, to go out there and not only demonstrate, but destroy. And, when
shoot.
when will it all stop? Never.
And shoot, and they shot 2 cops last night.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. Very
When's
sad.
it all going to stop? According to that side, they're saying it's never going to stop.
I don't think it will either.
That's right.
They're just going to keep going until they get what they want. And as I heard another person say it, it's like dealing with a 2-year-old. They're all throwing their temper tantrums right now. I will get my way,
Yeah.
or I'm going to keep doing it like this, which is exactly how a 2-year-old
I
acts.
I heard the attorney for the family say 401 years ago. That was when they first brought the slaves in 1619.
All
It's
right.
been like that ever since.
Yeah, well,
and
that's
it
what
has
they're
to
gonna-
stop.
Well, that's all right. It has to stop.
It's
Okay.
just I don't know.
when
I
you
think-
when you talk about the actors
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
as soon as the news, and I'm going to put that in quotes, runs out and tries to get any kind of celebrity, well, what do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know why they're running to them
Because
to get
yeah.
what they think.
because they're well-known names. And by the way, Viola Davis is a Rhode Island native. You know,
Central
that,
Falls.
Went to Rhode Island College
With me.
Your alma mater. Did you know her at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
But we went there at the same time.
You could have said
Me
that.
and 8,000 others.
Yeah, gotcha.
There were a
No,
lot of
but
us there at the time.
She's a great actress.
Yeah.
Should actors? I mean, everybody has a right to say what they want, but
But you don't
they-
have to listen to them.
They go to these people because they're well known, and they figure
Well,
they have influence over other people.
Well, they might.
Yeah.
So, but I feel the same way. Great, and I actually was thinking about this morning. A great actor, Robert De Niro,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
he's incredibly far to the left and a big
Yeah.
Trump hater. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, still a great actor, and I will continue to watch his performances, but I could care less about his politics.
Yeah.
On the same note, Tom Hanks, another great actor. I have no idea where he stands, and nor do I care.
He's probably in the middle.
Maybe, but I don't care what his
Right.
politics
Yeah.
are, and
Yeah.
and he's not up there on his soapbox saying,
Yeah.
"This is what I think. This is what you should think too," because I'm me.
He's probably doing the right thing by keeping quiet.
Maybe
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
So will more stuff go on in Louisville tonight?
Sure.
Probably.
I think so. I think it'll go on for a few days,
And
not
I-
only in Louisville.
But it was amazing. I don't know if you saw any of this. I mentioned this to Dave as well. The news people, they went out and tried to find as many African American attorneys as they could find that would go against the Attorney General, who's also African American,
Yeah.
in Kentucky. And there were
Interesting.
people going out saying, he doesn't speak for us. Yes, I know he's black, but because he's not saying what we want him to say,
He doesn't speak for
he
us.
doesn't speak for us.
Yeah.
Amazingly so.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's just the messenger, by the way.
Can we close off this subject just by agreeing it ain't right, it ain't wrong, it's politics. Has
You're
nothing
right.
to do with correct and incorrect. Has to do with politics.
Can I quote you on that, sir?
You may.
That's a good one. I like that.
But the other point I was trying to make is he's the messenger, and it was the grand jury, and who you don't know who's on the grand jury. There could have been 12 African
Citizens
Americans,
just like everybody else.
that's right, who handed down the thing, and he's just passing along what they did, and they're all yelling at the Attorney General.
And I'm not sure how it works in Kentucky, but in Rhode Island, what is it, 30 people that serve on a grand jury, and they vote by majority vote. It doesn't have to be unanimous.
I thought they, from what I heard last night, I thought they said there were 12 on there,
12.
and 9 out of 12 had to agree.
Okay, so they had
And
that
that's what-
super
that's what-
majority. Every state is different.
That's what they went
I think
with.
in Rhode Island it's a simple majority, and I'm not sure what the number is here. It might be 15, might be 20, might be less. But
All right.
that's how it works. A lot of people don't understand how a grand jury.
They
But
were
the
trying to explain that last
purpose of
night.
the grand jury is to,
And everyone's
is to
different.
hear evidence, and if there's enough evidence, they indict. And if you indict, then you go to trial. And if they don't indict, then it's over.
And from what I hear, they threw everything
Yeah.
at the grand jury
Yeah.
in Kentucky from first-degree murder all the way down.
Yep.
And then here's the charge, and now here's the evidence we got, and they looked it all over and said, nope, 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 yes on this one.
Yeah.
And other stuff they threw out as well.
So chances are there were some people on that jury probably voted to indict, but they didn't have enough. They needed
you needed 9 out of 12.
9 out of 12.
That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what went on in Louisville last night. They also had the things in Providence last night. Didn't do as much as Louisville did, but they did have some protests. So, and they did shut down 95 for a little bit of a time, but not nothing rotten.
Nothing serious happened.
And no fires last night. So that was good. So I mentioned to Dave Romeo because he had it on the news story. Statewide now, I said, election day's coming up in about 40 days, and I said, boy, things are going to get uglier in Cranston. Between now it's just between Mayor Fung's wife, Barbara Fung.
What is she running for?
She's running for Nicholas Mattiello's seat.
Oh, all right.
And so now
he's the speaker.
Yeah, that's right. Well, she wouldn't run for speaker. She's just running for a seat.
He's the speaker. If he loses his seat, he loses his job as speaker as well.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Somebody else gets it.
Yeah.
You
think so?
You can only have an elected member of the assembly be the speaker.
Yeah.
So, the Fung campaign complained that two of her larger signs, and I don't know how big larger is. They never said how big is large, but let's say 3 feet by 3 feet.
Yeah.
It could have been bigger.
Stolen?
Were stolen. And they were going to file a police report, and naturally they blamed the Mattiello campaign, and the Mattiello campaign said, we don't know anything about this. And now it turns out that the owners of the property, which was a commercial property, said, I don't like it. It's an eyesore. So they took it down. So the signs were never stolen.
I wonder if they were pressured to take it down.
I don't know. But you think they would have had to ask the permission of the property owner to put the sign up in the first place.
Initially, the property owner probably said yes, and then the property owner was pressured to take it down. That's what I think happened.
And then, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I know you're trying to finish up a topic over here, but I was trying to end the segment a few minutes earlier because Mr. Ward, Candidate Ward, is waiting without the connection to the control board. So you'll have to take a break over here, and then we'll hear from John. Because it's political, we want to get him on time and off on time.
Sure. One more thing about Cranston: the Mattiello campaign is now accusing the Fung campaign of filing a false police report, and that's what I mean. It's going to get uglier in Cranston as they go back and forth. All right, we're going to get to John Ward right after the break here on Coffee Ann.
Have you heard the news? If you have both Medicaid and Medicare, United Health Dual Complete can help you. And it's no wonder, considering all the extra benefits you could get. Dual Complete includes $3,000 in dental care with $0 copay. You could also get $800 to buy health products, hearing coverage, and credits for hearing devices, vision coverage, and credits for eyewear, no-cost gym membership, and Fitbit, and much, much more. See why Rhode Islanders with Medicaid and Medicare choose United Healthcare Dual Complete. To find a plan for you, visit our website at uhccommunityplan.com and search by your zip code or call 1-844-560-4944. Plans are insured through United Healthcare Insurance Company or one of its affiliated companies, a Medicare Advantage organization with a Medicare contract and a contract with state Medicaid program. Enrollment in the plan depends on the plan's contract renewal with Medicare. Benefits, features, and or devices vary with plan and area. Limitations and exclusions apply.
We talk a lot about the great classes you can take at the Honey Shop, but one of the other things that takes place at the Honey Shop at their Winthrop Street location in Woonsocket is all the great specialty desserts that are available. Now that we're moving into the fall season, they have pumpkin cheesecake, carrot cake, and maple cinnamon whoopie pies. Now this is important to remember. The desserts are gluten-free, they're sugar-free, and diabetic-friendly. They're also low in carbohydrates, and if you're on the keto diet, they're keto diet compliant. But the most important thing about the pumpkin cheesecake, the carrot cake, and the maple cinnamon whoopie pies, they're absolutely delectable and delicious. So order yours today at the Honey Shop, 6 Winthrop Street, Woonsocket. The Coffee Ann panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
We're local and live at 99.5.
It's Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning, as always. This is Joe Callahan with Romeo Berthium. Dave Richards is here as well. And joining us on the phone is Woonsocket City Councilor John Ward. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Dave.
John.
Good morning, Romeo.
Good morning, John.
John, I want to tell you at the outset that I have received a number of complaints that you're not here on the panel regularly as you had been. Just so that you know that you are missed.
You better give me a raise.
Yeah, 2 cups of coffee. All right.
That's what I'm saying.
John, can you clear up some important... as you know, we've been talking about some very important things before you joined us this morning. How much does a lawn sign cost for a politician? They don't give them away, right?
No, they don't, but I have to tell you, it's been 2 years since I bought one. And so I really am not in a position to say, because I'm literally still using signs from when I first ran for council in 2005.
Well, that's thrifty.
So you amortize them over the course of all of the elections, and they can be cheap if you have to use them over and over again.
It also means, of course, that they're not stealing your signs in large numbers. Otherwise, you wouldn't have enough to go around each year.
I don't know that they're not stealing them, but my inventory has dwindled slowly over time.
Well, they can get damaged.
2 years ago, I had to buy more. They get damaged. Some people take them in and keep them at their house.
Yeah.
And then they put them out 2 years later. So
They make great
souvenirs.
I'm sorry, John. I mean, they make great firewood too.
Yeah.
Well, not the ones that are made out of plastic.
Yeah, right.
True.
All right. Well, John, we know you want to say more important things than that, but it was like a tie-in from the last segment. John, we're getting a little bit of background noise from where you are, so thank you for speaking very close to your telephone mouthpiece.
I think the noise is because I pulled off the road. I had to drive to an appointment, so I'm sitting in my car speaking with you.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much for doing that and just not canceling. I'll turn you over now to the Dan Rather of ON Radio, Joe Callahan.
It's fantastic.
Dan.
So have you stopped beating your kids?
Not yet.
All right. So, John, you're running for...
Except they're in their 30s and they hit back.
Have you seen his boys? I don't think I would.
They're stronger than me now.
No. I know them well.
All right, John, you're running for re-election on the Woonsocket City Council. What made you decide that? I want to do this for another term?
Well, I was off of the council for 5 years, and I came back 2 years ago and was well received. And received a lot of support from the people, and I've been very comfortable doing it and enjoying it. Despite the occasional controversy, I think it's meaningful work, and I think the people appreciate what I do because I tend to do well at the polls, and I hope they think I do a good job. I focus on budget a lot, but I focus on other things, and I use a lot of my experience from Lincoln as the finance director to guide some of the things I do that relate to administrative matters. And so, I do find it enjoyable. I love doing the research. You guys know what kind of Google crazy person I am.
Well, I do.
Pulling up information and getting answers to questions. So I just hope people believe that I've been doing my best for the interests of the city, and will put me back in office for another 2 years.
Hey, John, I have a question for you. When you were on when you were on the council 5 years ago, before your first term, so to speak, you were council president, weren't you?
I was, yes.
Would you aspire to take that job again someday, or are you just perfectly happy where you are?
I think, under the circumstances, when I came back, I very early on showed Dan Gendron, who I thought has done a great job as council president.
He has.
That I was comfortable with the job he was doing, and if he was still interested, that I would be happy to let him keep it. I certainly wasn't interested in the fight. And so I'm still not interested in competing for that job. So if Councilman Gendron is comfortable with it and he gets reelected, then I would hope to support a group of people who would support him staying in the job.
But if he decided on his own to step down from that position, even if he is reelected, would you then consider it?
I would consider it, and I would ask others if they were interested in my taking that role, and if they were, then I would certainly be happy to.
Okay.
Are you happy to be back at Harris Hall, John? And do you like the changes that are there because of COVID-19? And did things still get done as well as you wanted them to get done when you had the Zoom meetings?
I'm never comfortable with Zoom meetings.
Okay.
They're not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're clearly not the same thing. And I'll say this: they're better than phone conference calls, but they're not the same as being in person. And I think I like the setup that was set up in Harris Hall. It did its job effectively. I'm looking forward to the day when we can talk about bringing back the public. But at the same time, one of the things I've been advocating for is I've never liked the layout of Harris Hall with the stage on the side where it is. And many people will know that it gets very awkward in the summertime when the sun comes in from the side and it bears down on the people in the audience. And frankly, I've thought that we should rotate the stage over to the eastern wall, which is the back of the building, and have a longer space for audience with not as wide a room. I think we could have a more effective meeting that way in terms of how it's set up. So I've talked with the council president, and we'll probably, hopefully, if we have enough people that support the concept, have a plan for when the COVID-19 issue is resolved to rotate the room a bit and make it a little bit more user-friendly, I think, and beneficial so that there's less time with the sun in people's eyes and awkward positions.
Okay.
Something, but I like the physical presence of a meeting. It's always much more effective.
Gotcha. In terms of this term last term that you're in, John, can you give us 3 items that you're most happy that passed? Either something that you brought up yourself or something that someone else brought up. But what are your 3 big accomplishments?
Well, I think I got to start with the one that just hit the breeze today, I believe, and it has to do with the LED streetlights. Because frankly, since the beginning in Lincoln, and actually when I was campaigning in 2013, I brought it up as something we needed to look at, and it was delayed in Lincoln because of the question that Mayor Policina caused and the litigation he caused by not paying the bill for the lights on state roads. And in doing that, it caused us in Lincoln to wait because there's quite a lot of street lights on state roads in Lincoln, and we wanted that resolved. And once he did resolve that question, we went back at looking at street lights in Lincoln with 4 other communities, 3 down in the East Bay, Jamestown, Portsmouth, and Middletown, and then Smithfield and the town of Lincoln. And as we approached the end of getting the bid request finished, I suggested that we invite Woonsocket in because I knew it was something we had not done yet. And so back in September, I made the call to the mayor and sent an email to the mayor and invited her into the group because there was much less work for the city to do with the bid documents all prepared already. And so she said yes, and they joined in, and we finalized all the documentation, and here we are. And we're going to initiate setting up LED street lighting, which will be a great cost savings, to make a more efficient and effective street lighting system for the whole city. That's the big one.
Okay.
The other ones are, because we've had trouble keeping employees in the city, specifically the tax assessor job, we still have our retired Arthur Bouchard working for the city. We now have another retiree working for the city. And part-time on top of that, we have the former tax assessor working with the city. So we can't seem to manage to keep a full-time tax assessor. And I had some issues with how they were treating nonprofits that became taxable because they weren't giving them any notice. They were just simply sending them a tax bill, declaring that they had found them to be taxable now. And I didn't think that was fair to anybody. And so I introduced legislation that would put in a set of requirements for communicating with the property owner and giving them an appeal process they can go through to rebut some of the assertions made in making them taxable again. And it was necessary because it affected the CYO Center on Federal Street. It affected the Sacred Heart Church. It affected All Saints Parish because of the school building. And they had simply gotten a tax bill. I didn't think it was fair. So I wrote legislation that would correct that and require the tax assessor's office to do certain things. And that was passed unanimously, I believe. So I got support of all of the council on that, and we passed it. And so now anybody that's in a nonprofit situation that's not getting a tax bill for legal reasons, they won't get that big tax bill surprise. And I think the other thing is though I didn't like the quote unquote big budget amendment Jim Conoyer produces, I was drafting my own budget worksheets and things, and I guess like a good collaborative body, I was in communication with Jim, and we realized how many common ground issues we had. And so when people accuse Jim Conoyer of manipulating the council and doing things, leading the five people, in fact, it's more about Jim Conoyer picking up the phone and calling people and communicating. And, you know, some of the things that were in quote-unquote Jim Conoyer's budget amendment were actually John Mort's amendments. Some of the things in that Jim Conoyer budget amendment with Dan Gendron's budget amendment. So he works with people to come so that we don't spend a lot of time going over little things one at a time. And it really becomes actually a better, more cohesive, overarching budget amendment that is not necessarily Jim Conoyer's, but is actually the work of a collaborative group of people. Clearly, you know, from all of the accusations out there by certain members of the council and the public, the fact is Jim Conoyer doesn't direct anybody. Jim Conoyer lobbies his positions. He gains support of votes. It's what every politician should be if you're going to get your ideas passed. And nobody tells John Ward or Dan Gendron or Denise Sierra or John Brien what they're going to do. We make phone calls, work it out, and it may look like Jim Conoyer is leading the way, but it's principally because he does a lot of heavy lifting on budgets, and we've, I think, done good budgets in the last 2 years. So I'd say that's my third one that I'm proudest of.
Okay, Romeo?
I just have a quick question, John. Who are you supporting for mayor?
John Brien. And I'll tell you, you know, I could get into all the emotional stuff, but the fact of the matter is I've been very frustrated these last 2 years trying to get information out of the administration. It makes me feel like my brother on South Main Street. I'm constantly pulling teeth, and it's extremely frustrating. And that and the fact that we are now employing Paul Luba, even though he wasn't in the budget, so it's contrary to our budgetary ordinance that was passed, and we apparently need him because we can't get enough help. We've only had one tax assessor full time since Arthur Bouchard, and she's working in Providence now. And then otherwise we're relying on retirees. Our finance office is always lacking people. There's just and our director of planning and development, basically we've had one, Steve Lima, who didn't have the legal qualifications. Other than that, we have had two retirees who served very well for us, but were not permanent full-time employees. And now we have Mr. Gibbs, who is working basically under the contract, not even as an employee. So in 7 years that the mayor has been mayor, she hasn't actually gotten a planning director to come work for her. And we've barely gotten a tax assessor to come work for her. And we need financial help from Paul Luba instead of actually hiring staff that are competent to do the job. So that tells me that there's something administratively functioning poorly in the administration. And I think we need to I think if John gets in there, he can get a chance to actually work with people instead of pushing them aside, and instead of ignoring their ideas so that his ego can control the day, and we can actually get a better administrative operation going in City Hall.
All right, John, we've come to the end of the 15 minutes. It goes by oh so quickly. But just within the last 30 seconds here or so, give us the reasons why people should vote for you for Woonsocket City Council.
Well, it's a very simple message. I've enjoyed doing what I've been doing for many years, I guess now 10 years on the council. And though I know some people say that you get a little long in the tooth, The fact is, experience matters in getting a job done effectively, and I think I've worked effectively on behalf of the citizens, and I hope that the voters will go, whether by write-in ballot or early voting or going to the polls. I hope they'll support me this year again, and I look forward to serving for another 2 years. Thank you very much.
John Ward.
Green signs.
John,
the green signs.
thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us this morning on the Coffee and program. Bob Lotter, by the way, sends his regards. He says he's sorry he missed you.
I'm sorry I missed Bob talking about Louisville.
And drive safely, John.
Yes, make sure you drive safely.
I will. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Have a good day.
All righty. We're going to take a break now on the Coffee and program. More coming up. Please stay tuned.
State Line Service is open. State Line Service is open regular hours. State Line Service is open regular hours on Social Street of the Massachusetts line. Yes, during the current restrictions, we're all driving less, but our cars still need maintenance and repair. State Line Service is open to help. Just phone us at 765-0146 or ask for an appointment on our Facebook page, State Line Service. Or, if you're not on Facebook, go to our website at statelineautoservice.com to make an appointment. We're completely COVID-19 compliant, but we are open regular hours. Call 765-0146 safely. State Line Auto Repair, 1209 Social Street, Woonsocket, at the Blackstone Town Line.
Our time is running out. September 30th is the last day to complete the census, and it's crucial to our families and our community's future that we do our part. It's billions of dollars with a B that we could lose out on. Complete the census. Call 844-330-2020 or visit 2020census.gov. That's 844-330-2020 or 2020census.gov. Sponsored by Rhode Island Complete Count Committee and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
Hi, I'm Dave Gobiel, the president of the Blackstone Valley Buy Local Group, supporting and promoting the independently owned businesses of our area. If you're not a member, I'd love a chance to sign you up. Message me at our Buy Local Blackstone Valley Facebook page or go to buylocalbv.org if you wish to sign up today.
Shop local first, all across the area. Shop here first.
And it's time for the forecast, being brought to you by CVS. Today, mostly sunny, high near 79. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 56. Friday, sunny, high near 80. Friday night, mostly clear, low 57. Saturday, mostly sunny, high near 75. And Sunday, partly sunny, high near 79. Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we have 61 degrees. CVS pharmacists have a tool designed to look for ways that may help lower your prescription costs. Visit CVS today. Savings vary. See store for details.
I'm here with Kara Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency. Kara, tell me about your agency.
Sure. We started our agency from scratch, which means we opened with no customers. We have grown because of all the family, friends, and locals that supported us over the years. We are proudly woman-owned and operated since 2006. We're a family business, mother and daughter team, so you get two different generations coming together to get the best of both worlds.
You're in good hands with Allstate and Kara and Celeste Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency, 125 Eddie Dowling Highway, across from Dowling Village in North Smithfield, 765-5000.
Our business is truly a referral business, and we have built it based on our premier service level and commitment to what we do. If you are looking for personalized service with people who care, that would be us.
This segment of the Coffee and program is sponsored by attorney Bob Lotter. The Tiki Bar is sponsored by Robert Hope Lotter, attorney at law. He can't solve mysteries anyhow, though he's a whiz at the game of Clue. But if you're seeking good legal advice, it's worthwhile having him talking with you. So if you have questions about estates or trust or dissolution of marriages when love turns to dust, then good legal counsel is surely a must. If you'd like to discuss legal issues with Bob, please give him a call at 401-762-4550, 762-4550. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning. Nice to have John Ward with us. And we will have tomorrow on the Coffee and program Vincent Bono. He is running for state rep. So we'll have him on for his 15 minutes. And joining us tomorrow will also be Woonsocket Police Chief Thomas Oates. We'll talk about what whatever he can tell us but that we don't already know about the drug bust that took place.
I'll bet I know what the other topic will be.
What will the other topic be?
Well, what's going on in the country right now, how he feels about defunding the police and all that stuff.
Well,
besides,
you don't even have to
already
ask
talked to him about
He's
that.
the police chief. You
right.
know where he stands on it.
I know.
So one of the other stories from yesterday that came out yesterday is, well, the people that want to put that soccer stadium in Pawtucket said, well, we're scaling back.
Oh,
yeah. It was a $400 million project. Now we're going to make it basically a $300 million project. And we were going to take over the land and knock down the Apex building.
Yep.
No, we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So we're just going to that eyesore is just going to stay there.
What I'm hearing is that the folks who own the Apex are just not playing ball. So
is that
intended? Why should they continue beating their head against the wall when all projections indicate that there'll be less need for commercial space in the future?
Well, that's right. Yeah. I mean, look at all the empty office space there is now. Why build more?
So that's where the other $100 million is going. In other words, instead of 400, 300, they wanted to buy Apex. So
that's right. They're going to save their money.
Develop that land.
When you have a piece of pivotal property, you'd be a fool not to try to make things come out your way. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that I've heard before with the people who are trying to put the baseball stadium there, and I've heard before that when other people when the state was renting it out for a registry outpost, that they weren't that easy to get along with as far as accommodating. They're expensive and they want what they want and they own the property, so they're entitled to it, but it doesn't work into your plans easily.
Yeah, what I always heard is, when the Paw Sox wanted to move the stadium there, and the land was valued at, let's say, $200,000, he wanted $800,000.
Right.
It's that kind of.
Well, that's the sort of thing, and he has the right to do that.
Sure.
But
people have the right to walk away too.
It discourages people from wanting to deal with them because they don't see a satisfactory outcome for themselves.
Who owns Apex?
I used to know the name, but I can't remember.
It's an individual. It's not a big corporation.
It's not a corporation. It's either one person or it's a family that owns it.
Right.
So they're just going to go down the river. They're going to put the right now. They're going to put the soccer stadium where they wanted to put it originally, and then across the river, that's where they're going to put the. Another complex, another indoor event center, and there's supposed to be a hotel somewhere in that area. I wonder if that's a good idea. There is a hotel right up the road, right next to Apex. What is that? That's a something now.
Yes, I knew it.
I can picture it. I'm not sure if it's a Marriott now or something, but there's one right there.
Cross something. I forgot.
Okay, well, there's one right there. I don't know how well that's.
Yeah.
Filled up all the time, but they're still in business, so maybe there is room.
They were just
for another
renovated, so
yeah, and so unless a little later on, maybe they readjust what they want to do there in Pawtucket, and maybe they take something else out. But the Apex building is now off the plans. It's off the table. We don't want it anymore. So now it's that weird odd shaped building that just sits there with the weeds growing up in the parking lot.
Yeah. Well, that happens.
And now they're not taking care of the building. If you ever drive by it, that spire or whatever that configuration of that building is white, but someone's not cleaning the top of. No one goes up and cleans it anymore. So now it's kind of turning tan.
Oh God!
From the rain and the snow and possibly birds and things like that.
It's like a landlord who doubles the rent, and the tenants move out, and then the building is empty for 2 years.
Yeah.
What good is that?
I always thought the registry did wonderful there.
Yeah.
That's a great place for us.
Who is paying the rent?
Dave is.
Every time I buy something in Rhode Island, I was paying.
Yeah, that's true.
Tax. Yeah.
All right. So up in Massachusetts, Romeo.
Meanwhile,
in Massachusetts, they're finally getting around to renumbering the 495.
That's about time.
Renumbering the exits
every mile. Yep.
Yes, and so it's going to start soon enough and travel and go into next year as well. So you're going to see a lot of new numbers, kind of like what they did on 295, and people got used to it.
I think that's a good idea
rather quickly. In fact,
it's easy to figure it that way.
I'll have to pay attention more. Are the old numbers still there?
I think they're going to keep them
They
there
used
for
to
a
be
while,
there.
like they did in Connecticut.
They put up new signs that say formerly
Exactly.
exit.
Yeah, but are those signs still there? It's
They
gotten to the
are on
point where I don't-
195.
Okay.
I drove it yesterday.
You did.
They're
Okay.
also on 395 in Connecticut.
Yes.
On the way to
They're still there?
95 or on the way to Foxwoods or Mohegan Sun.
Because it gets to the point where you just don't see those signs
Yeah.
anymore because
Yeah.
you're looking for the new number.
Well, they're waiting for, it's a transition thing. And, you know.
And my closest connection is 146 off of 295. It used to be exit 9, and now it's exit 18B, actually.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
so I've got used to it being 18B now. So I'm like, is the other one that said formerly exit 9A or whatever it was
when they get
still there?
When they go into the letters, that really confuses me. You know, is it A or B? I forgot.
Sometimes there's even
How about
more.
south or west? I don't know. Is it east? Is it north?
You go down.
The way I'm told is there's a rule for that when they
There is?
designate it. Yeah, they start at one end. These are interstate highways. They
Yeah.
start where the road enters the state, and that's either the entrance or the exit.
Yeah.
Somebody makes that disposition, and it could go one way or the other.
Okay.
But generally speaking, the southernmost entrance is the lowest number. It starts with exit 1.
So we start at the south.
And then you number the exits now. It's a rule. Before it could have been either sequentially or by mileage.
All right.
But now they want it the same everywhere, so they're changing it all to mileage from mile 1 where the road enters the state.
Yep.
And that as you travel the road from the lowest numbers to the highest number exits, the first physical exit you get, whether it goes the other direction or the first direction, makes no difference. The first one you get is A, the next one is B, the next one is C.
All right.
And that's what I was told.
That kind of makes sense.
Don't know if it's true.
Well, we'll see.
The only one I've seen that's gone past the letter B is in Providence. So there's there's one that goes up to D.
They have a split with another
That's
split
Route 6.
afterwards.
Yeah.
610, there's the split, and then there's another split on the ramp.
That can be confusing.
Especially if you're not from around here.
Or if you don't travel to Providence that often.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's almost like driving back from Boston.
Yeah.
How many people that try to go, we want to go south, end up going north because they're in the wrong lane. It just happens.
It does.
All right. Well, some people have decided to get together here in the city of Woonsocket. They found out that Adopt a Family was not going to do what they normally do at Christmas time this year, and they said, well, we want to do something for the kids.
They established a new agency, right?
A new nonprofit agency, and I'm scanning the article that's in today's call, and I can't find. Dave, do you remember what they're calling this new company?
Isn't it Woonsocket Tots Inc.?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see it.
I scanned it quickly this morning before coming in, but I
No,
forgot.
it's right there on the front page. Hand me the
My memory-
story.
my
Your
memory
eye's not
fails
falling
me.
on it, but I know it's there.
see it right away. Well, good luck to them.
Yeah, of course.
If they want to take on this project so soon, and so it's actually pretty close to Christmas time, and I hope they can pull it off. And I hope they don't get overwhelmed with the amount.
I was right. Woonsocket Tots Inc.
Oh, okay.
That's good, Dave. I'm impressed. I kind of remember, but I wasn't sure.
Well, we care. We
know
want
why.
to help these people.
Of course we do.
So, good luck to them, and I'm sure they're going to get hit with a lot of requests for presents this year
Sure.
because of COVID-19. So I hope they can pull this off.
Talking about nonprofits, can we talk about the Milk Fund for a minute?
That was going to segue right into that.
All right. Great minds.
Speaking of that,
great minds think alike, Joe.
the Milk Fund is a go for this year.
Yes, it is. And we had a meeting last week. I'm sure Dave talked about it. I talked about it on Saturday with Darren. We have a committee that's working already to get the auction ready, and we're kind of making an appeal this year to people who want to donate, of course, as they always do, to send their donations into Milk Fund Incorporated, care of ON Radio Woonsocket. But if you would like to help, especially this year, because it's so going to be difficult to ask merchants and business people to donate mostly gift cards, because they've had a rough year, and we certainly agree with that. I mean, it's kind of tough, but if you would like to help, go out and buy some gift cards for the Milk Fund and donate them to us, the auction committee, and we've already mentioned that, and we're going to push that really hard this year because we really need items for the auction. And again, being the year that it is, 2020, a year we will never forget because of COVID-19, it's going to be hard for the usual donations to come in. I'm sure there'll be some anyway, but we're looking for people to help, and the best way they can help, in addition to cash donations, for the auction specifically, is to go out, get gift cards, gift certificates, donate them to the Milk Fund auction so we can auction them off to raise money for the Milk Fund, and hopefully that'll work. What do you think, Dave? You agree?
We're counting on that idea working.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Don't get me into...
I was waiting for you to jump in, but you didn't. Okay.
You can't be objective about things that are in your heart.
That's true.
And so I really, really want this to work.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to try to engage in any kind of predictions.
Sure.
So when you ask me, what do you think, is that going to work? I'd like to shy away from that. I just like to say, we're going to give it our best effort and raise whatever we can.
Yeah.
And then I promise you, whatever we raise will buy milk for people who need it in 2021.
That's great.
All right. We're going to take a break on the Coffee Am program, and this segment has been sponsored by attorney Bob Lauder. Bob will hopefully join us again next week here on the Coffee Am program. But, Dave, you want to say a few nice words about Bob?
I do. Well, I always do. I recommend Bob Lauder whenever the subject comes up with other people because he's an able attorney. He's a very detailed man and he's a very honest man. And in my particular case, he's a tried and true friend down through the years. He's been my civil attorney because, you know, when you get to be a big shot business guy, you get an attorney for the FCC,
Who's your
attorney for civil stuff, and you know you have different attorneys because Bob will tell you I don't specialize in that stuff, so you really got to get somebody else to do it.
I was going to ask you who your criminal attorney is because if he's your civil,
so far I haven't had to choose one.
Thank God for that, huh?
Yeah. So I'm delighted to report that I don't have a criminal attorney.
Right.
But Bob would recommend one if I needed one. And that's really what it is. So you go and you talk to Bob because the first conference is always free and he's all COVID-19.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll talk to you over the telephone. There's no obligation. There's no charge. He'll assess the situation, and then he'll tell you what he thinks, might be the best course of action next. You decide yes, you decide no. There's no pressure there. And I've mentioned this on our air before. There's been times when Bob said, your options are this, and this, Dave. And I said, well, I really want to do this. He says, well, that may cost you more money. I said, yeah, but it's the right thing to do. Let's go.
Yeah.
And he says, okay, fine.
Yep.
And then he just moves along that way, and it's never brought up again. So you're always in control of what's going on when you're talking to Bob Lauder. He's always given me great advice. He'll give you options A, B, and C, and you choose from there. And then he's very able in how he gets things done. If it's something that he thinks that another lawyer would do better for you on, he will recommend another lawyer.
That's good.
Then he'll call the other lawyer's office and say, I have a client here and they want this done. You specialize in it. Will you take them on? Sure. He'll ask on you. You don't have to go cold turkey to these other folks.
Yeah, right.
So you can't ask for better than that. A lawyer's advice is his stock in trade. And when his advice is you need a different lawyer, you'll get that from Bob Lauder. You can't go wrong going to Bob Lauder first.
No, can I just say something real quick about Bob? A family member of mine had a legal question, and as you just indicated, he went to him for a free consultation, gave him some great advice, even followed up with a couple of phone calls, and my relative was extremely pleased with the results. So, Bob, thank you, and he's a good guy.
All right, more of the Coffee Am program coming up here on ON Radio.
I'm here with Kara Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency. Kara, tell me about your agency.
Sure. We started our agency from scratch, which means we opened with no customers. We have grown because of all the family, friends, and locals that supported us over the years. We are proudly woman-owned and operated since 2006. We're a family business, mother and daughter team, so you get two different generations coming together to get the best of both worlds.
You're in good hands with Allstate and Kara and Celeste Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency, 125 Eddie Dowling Highway, across from Dowling Village in North Smithfield, 765-5000.
Our business is truly a referral business, and we have built it based on our premier service level and commitment to what we do. If you are looking for personalized service with people who care, that would be us.
There's a new feature at valleybreeze.com that will make it easier to find the business or deal you're looking for, as well as share their ads with family and friends. Head to valleybreeze.com. At the right, find This Week's Ads. Click it and you'll see all the ads that were in the Breeze's 5 newspapers. Maybe you've finished with your paper or are recalling an ad you noticed a few days ago. Just use the search function and the ad is right there, ready to be printed or shared. Merchants, share your ads on social media. The Valley Breeze. Our mission is your success.
Hi, this is Casey Kasem. We've been counting down the hits together since the days of cool shades, hot pants, and tie-dye shirts. I hope you can join me this weekend when I recount the hits from 40 to number 1, just the way I did back then. It's American Top 40 the 70s right here.
Join Casey counting them down this Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. right here on ON AM and FM, sponsored by Paul Vanas and Associates Real Estate in Lincoln.
Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning. Joe Callahan here. Romeo Berthum is filling in for Bob Lauder. Nicely done.
Kind of hard to fill in for Bob.
That is. And Dave Richards is here as well. No,
I filling in for Dave.
I had to be somewhere here.
I talked to Bob earlier, and I asked him the same questions that Charlie Baudelli asked you, Romeo, to look up.
Yep, I did.
And yes, it's in the Well, basically, it's in the Constitution that Supreme Court justices are set for life.
I don't think it is.
Bob says it is.
I'm going to have
to. No. It's very simple. Everybody's trying to make this into their own little phrase.
Yeah.
The fact is that in every single appointment or elective office, the rules state how long the term is. In the case of a Supreme Court justice, they simply do not address the length of term.
They don't say for
and
life.
so there is no expiration in the term.
Yeah.
It's widely accepted that the term expires when the person does.
I think you're absolutely right, Dave. And somebody suggested, limiting their term to 18 because there's 9 of them. Every 2 years they would have a new Supreme Court justice. That's kind of weird. That
all
was a
9 out at one time and all 9 in?
No, they would gradually work their way into it. But I did check the Constitution. Article 3 of the Constitution does state that the Supreme Court... it doesn't say how many people.
No.
And it doesn't, as Dave just said, does not specify a term. So the implication is that they can go on forever if they want to. Some of them resign, some of them die in office. But it's very clear that the president has the right to appoint, and the Senate has to advise and consent. And it's a simple majority, 51 votes.
Right.
That's all they need. So that's why it looks as if whoever the president appoints between now and, well, I guess Saturday is going to be the day he's announcing it.
Yes.
I don't think it'll be a big surprise. It'll probably be that woman from, I forget where she's from, but she's 48
Florida?
years old. No, the other one.
The other one.
I forget her name. But soon to become a household name, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I'm sure she'll be, she will be appointed because they've got the votes. And even Mitt Romney...
Oh, yeah.
Who voted
How about that?
not to impeach because he was already impeached, voted to convict.
Yeah.
He's going to vote for this, whoever it is, he said, because it's according to the Constitution, the president has a perfect right to appoint anybody he wants.
And also, but what people aren't talking about, because people don't do their homework, they don't want to, because news is infotainment, and that they keep saying, well, the last time the Democrats, I said that was totally different. You had a lame duck president with months to go, term limited. You knew there was going to be another president in just a few months. There was no question. It was the law.
That's a good point.
This one, we have a viable candidate for re-election and 4 more years in office. So it's not the same. It's just politics.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
Okay.
Unusual, huh? I agree with Dave.
You got to do the homework if you really want to know, folks.
Yeah. No,
or
he's
listen
right.
to Coffee and we'll think it out for you.
I'm being objective. I don't necessarily agree with the concept of him doing that now, but he has that perfect right. And
well, I think it's funny because I heard it on our national news, Dave. They reported, there's a new poll out. I forget where it's from, and 62% of the American people think that Trump should not appoint someone to the Supreme Court. And I actually said out loud in my car, so what?
Yeah.
I go, this poll means nothing.
Yeah, what do the American...
Absolutely nothing.
What you're saying is, what do the American people know?
Yeah, that's right.
Ask me what I think about polls.
Well, polls are nothing. And they reported
we were
as
discussing
as
it off
news.
air, as a matter of fact, and I reaffirmed my
belief,
my concern for putting too much stock in what polls say, because polls are merely snapshots. They can be easily manipulated, so you need to then do the research. Who ran the poll?
Who did they ask?
Who did they ask? What did they ask of those people to come up with the results, and then how did they extrapolate?
How is the question phrased? Exactly.
So, I mean, this it's nice. It's conversation. It's water cooler stuff. But you don't make decisions based on polls.
Ask Harry Truman
just,
about
how many
that.
people listen to Coffee Ann in the morning?
Oh,
right? If you listen to
Thousands,
polls,
billions.
would you really turn on this station? Come on. Come on. Give me that.
But you know what, though, Dave? Everybody loves a winner. It's a rah-rah thing.
Of
They
course.
jump on the merry-go-round. If they hear so-and-so's ahead, they'll vote for him.
But they still show up at Red Sox games.
Oh, of course.
All right.
Not
Listen,
anymore. Not this year.
Yeah. By the way, Joe.
Yes.
Finally, it took all this time for me to get, while I was talking and doing everything else, finally get the information I was looking for, the name of the hotel in Pawtucket that we were thinking of.
All right. Yes, what is it?
And I feel so bad because I know the manager. I just couldn't remember the name after they renovated it.
All right.
It's the Hampton Inn.
Hampton Inn.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
right. Okay, you're
Sure.
right. I was going to say
Hampton Inn.
I was going to go with Comfort Inn, but I think it might have been the Comfort Inn
It was
before
the
that.
Comfort Inn. Remember, I was starting to say,
No, but
come.
it changed.
Yeah, and right.
So Hampton Inn. All right. Last note of note before the show comes to an end, Raimondo says that the college cases are causing travel restrictions to other states. It's because the college kids, we can't go to New York and New Jersey and Connecticut and Maine.
Yeah, well, other people,
in Massachusetts.
Other people are saying it's because they're doing a lot more testing, but it's related to that because
maybe it is.
Yeah, because the college kids are being tested, and the more you test, the more you're going to find. And, yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
I just think that Governor Raimondo should put Massachusetts in the blacklist.
Oh, wait a minute.
Show them, huh?
Yeah, okay, fine. You want to do that to us? I mean,
we'll do it to you.
There were several times where Rhode Island was doing better than Massachusetts. And if you look at the numbers, we're doing a whole lot better than Massachusetts is doing fighting COVID. Of course, we're a smaller state with a smaller population, so figures lie and liars figure.
Ooh.
But the point is, if you want to do this to us, we'll just do it to you because it doesn't mean nothing anyway.
What would we do? What would Joe and I do? Would we be able to come into Rhode Island if that happened?
You know,
Because we're
people are going to do what they're going to do
residents.
anyway.
Yeah.
Nobody stopped us from going to Bellingham for a blizzard.
There's a caveat. If you're crossing Rhode Island and Mass for work or school, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
So.